Welcome to Auction version 4, the event management software tool from Auction Systems. In this video in the EventPay series, I will show you how to export the swipe data from the EventPay app and import it into your auction project. Why do you want to export the swipe data from EventPay? Because EventPay is only an app that securely stores the encrypted credit card information at check-in. EventPay does not charge the cards. And then why import the data from EventPay into your auction project? Well, really for two reasons. One, when you import the data into the auction project, the guests get marked as having quick checkout. Quick checkout will then appear on invoices printed at checkout for these guests. This allows these guests to avoid the cashier line at the end of the event. With a copy of their quick checkout invoice, they can go straight to item pickup because their credit card is on file already. And of course, the mechanism to charge the credit cards is in auction. Auction will charge the cards after the event is over. So when do you export the swipe data and import it into the auction project? Well, you can do this more than once. The ideal time is when check-in is complete, but before checkout starts. You want to get the guests who have registered credit cards at check-in marked as quick checkout before you start to print invoices. If you think check-in is complete and then a few stragglers show up, you can export the swipes again. Remember, when you retrieve the swipes into auction, it's just giving the encrypted credit card data to auction and attaching it to the bid number associated with that credit card when the card was swiped. If the bidder already has credit card information in auction because you've retrieved the swipes once already, it will recognize that it's the same credit card and nothing has changed. It doesn't add the credit card information twice, so this means you can export the swipes more than once and bring them into auction. At the end of the event, you may need to capture credit card information for a guest or two that did not allow their credit card to be captured at check-in. You can swipe their credit card just like I showed you in the previous video on how to capture a credit card using EventPay. But remember, when you use EventPay to capture a credit card, you're only saving the encrypted credit card data. You're not charging the card. So you will need to export that list of swipes again after checkout is complete to get those stragglers into auction. All you need to export the swipes from the EventPay app and retrieve them into the auction project is access to the EventPay computer or computers in which the credit card data has been stored, and access to the auction project. If the EventPay computers are different than the computers using for data entry and auction, you will also need to use a USB flash drive to transport the encrypted data files from the EventPay app to auction. To export swipe data from EventPay, start in the EventPay app, and in the Swipe task, click the Export Swipe Data button. A window dialog box like this will pop up. You can navigate to the location such as the flash drive that you want to save the file in. EventPay will name the file for you, and in general we suggest you do not change the name of the file. Leave it as the name that EventPay gives it because it not only tells you the name of the computer the file was pulled on, which is helpful, it tells you what the file is, EventPay swipes, and it also tells you the date and time and 24-hour time the file was created. Having the name of the computer in the file helps you make sure whether you have all the files if you have more than one swiping app. The date and time tells you which file is the most recent if you happen to export data files more than once from the same computer. The file will be saved as a CSV file. These types of files can be opened with Excel if you want to look at the file after exporting. If the EventPay app is on a different computer than the computer that has your auction project, take the flash drive to the computer that has the auction project, open the project, and then in auction, on the main home task ribbon, click Data Exchange. In the Data Exchange task area, click the Credit Card Sync interface. Then click Retrieve Swipes. You can browse to the swipe file on the flash drive, but if you have File Explorer up, you can also copy and paste or drag and drop the file into this box. You'll see this screen where you click the name EventPay as the format you want to use. Then you'll see this screen. Your list of numbers that have encrypted credit card data on file will appear below. The column headers from the incoming file are right above it, and above those headers is the field names in Auction, where Auction will put the data. Press Import Now and the encrypted data will be imported into Auction. After Auction has finished retrieving the swipes, a log will appear. What you hope for is both the warning and error buttons on the ribbon of this log are grayed out, which means you have no warnings and no errors. All the swipe data from this file came into Auction, so you can close the log, and if you have another file of swipe data from a different swiping computer, on the Retrieve Swipes ribbon in Auction, click Select File, and select the file and proceed to retrieve the new file as you did the previous. Once you have imported all your swipe data, you can continue on to the Event Night task in Auction to enter winning bids. But the error button is not grayed out. You have an error or multiple errors you will need to correct. Then you'll have to retrieve this same file again. To find the errors, scroll down through the log and make a note of the bid number and name on the card for any error. The errors will be highlighted in red. You can print this log out so you don't have to scroll through, but if your printer is not a color printer, the red shading for errors will be gray in color, and that may be hard to spot in low light. The most likely error you would see is that the bid number associated with the credit card in EventPay does not exist in Auction. This usually happens when you have a walk-in or two. Your check-in team gave the walk-in a bid number and swiped their card, but no one has yet entered that person into the auction project, or hasn't yet entered that bid number for them if they're already in the auction project. Before trying to retrieve the same swipe data file again, you must get that bidder and their bid number into the list of names in Auction, not only so there is a record to attach the encrypted credit card data to, but also so a winning bid can be entered for that person if they win something. So go to Home in Auction and choose the Data Entry task. Choose Name Data Entry and enter the new bidder and type in their bid number in the primary bid number field of their name entry panel. Or, if the name has already been entered but the bid number has not been assigned to that name yet, just type in the bid number on the primary bid number field. Sometimes this new bidder is a spouse who wants to purchase something and wants to pay for it on their own. They don't want to put it on the household. They don't want their spouse to know about it. Maybe it's a present or something. Don't add the new bid number as a secondary bid number in the same household record that has their spouse, because all purchases for a household will be charged to the credit card on file for the primary bid number, even if there is a card on file for the secondary bid number. So, if a spouse wants their own bid number and wants to swipe their own credit card for that bid number, simply create a new name record for the spouse, and in the name entry panel, make them the primary, and their bid number is the primary bid number, the only bid number in that record. The other thing that sometimes happens is that for some reason the check-in crew gives a new bid number to a person that is already in the auction project under a different bid number. As long as the original bid number does not have a credit card on file for it that was retrieved in an earlier sync, you can simply change the bid number in Auction to the bid number the guest is using, which is the one used in EventPay. Once the bidders are correctly entered in Auction, you can retrieve the swipes again from this same file. So once the errors have been corrected, when you return to the Retrieve Swipes in the Credit Card Sync task, if you've not closed your project since you last tried the sync, Auction will remember the file that you had tried to bring in that had some errors, but notice it is no longer mapped at the top of the column headings, and the Import Now button is grayed out. Click the Select Format button to choose the import format named EventPay. This will remap the columns and activate the Import Now button. When you press Import Now in the new log, there should not be any errors. So once all the swipes have been retrieved, when you go to the EventPay task in Winning Bids, you will see QC in the right-hand column for any bidder that has a credit card on file. Be sure to follow all these same import steps for each swipe data file you have if you have more than one swiping computer with EventPay, so that you'll have all your guests marked as quick checkout who swiped a card on the way in the door. Let's look at the details of an invoice for a person with a credit card on file after retrieving the swipes into auction. Notice the words Quick Checkout appear on the invoice underneath the bid number on the right, but also notice that there is a balance due. This is because you have usually not processed the credit cards yet. Often there are issues with winning bids or people who swiped a credit card and would like to pay a portion of their purchase with a check or cash. So it usually takes a day or two after the event before you're ready to actually batch charge all the cards through auction, because you will need that time to make sure the winning bids and the amounts due are all correct for the people who have swiped a card. In the next video in this EventPay series, I will show you how to change a credit card for a guest who already has a credit card on file. Thank you for joining us.